Welcome to Staging the Third Act with Jeaninne Escallier Kato. I'm your host. This is a show by, about, and for baby boomers who are still chasing their passions and realizing their dreams and sharing it with the world. And I'm so excited for today's guest. I just found out that Rosanne McHenry just won several awards for her books. So I'm so excited to share that with you today. And then she's going to talk about her history and what led up to these books. So welcome, Rosanne.
Thanks, Jeaninne.
I'm so excited you're here. I
you.
just heard about your awards. This is nothing to sneeze at. So tell us what the awards are and for what books.
Oh, thank you. Well, I've written 2 books, and we'll talk a little bit more about them later. They both won awards, but the newest awards are for this book, Tales from a Rogue Ranger. And it won first place in 2 categories for the American Legacy Book Awards.
Wow.
And then as a finalist in 2 other categories for that same award program. And then it also won finalist for the International Book Awards, which is a larger book program, and that one it won in 4 categories as well.
That is not easy to do either.
No, mostly people get 1 category. I'm amazed each book got 4 categories. And my previous book, this one, Trip Tales, also won first place in the American Legacy Book Awards several categories, and several first runner-up finalist in the International Book Awards.
Congratulations.
As well as the Next Generation Indie Awards. That was a few years ago for this one. So
must feel wonderful. So tell us how you became to write these books and your interesting past.
Well,
and your interesting present.
Well, to start at the beginning, I was a geology student at San Francisco State University, and they had announced a program where you could go to work with the National Park Service. And so I met with my geology professor. He said, there's just starting a new national park out there in the Marin Headlands, part of Golden Gate National Recreation Area. And so if you go out there and you meet with them and work as a volunteer, it could lead to a job. And that was a great time back then because it was tough to get on as a woman ranger.
Oh, absolutely, especially then.
Yeah, especially then. And so I went out and I volunteered for about 6 months and led guided walks and talks on the history and natural history of the area. And they offered me a job. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was all guys out there, all men, no women rangers, but they offered me a job, and that was my way in.
Wow.
And so I worked with the national parks at Golden Gate National Recreation Area. Beautiful. And then at Mount Rainier National Park in Washington.
Oh my gosh, such beautiful places.
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah. And so that's what the first book is all about. This one is all about how family camping adventures as a child had inspired me to become a national park ranger, and then my early days as a ranger in both of those parks. And there's my little bookmark peeking out of there. So after working as a national park ranger, I met my husband, who was a state park ranger, and so I defected.
Perfect.
I defected and became a California state park ranger. And I worked in lots of different parks over the years. So this book talks about my work at American River, at the Auburn State Recreation Area, as well as at Folsom Lake.
Wow.
But I worked lots of different places.
Something I didn't ask you when we had lunch so I could get to know you. Did you come up against a lot of misogyny along the way?
Yeah. It's funny that, because back in the 1970s, when I was first becoming a park ranger, national parks was just starting to bring more women on board, but California state parks still had job bulletins that said men only apply.
Oh.
And so it was tough. It was tough to get in, but finally I was able to manage that as they were accepting more and more women. But I worked with nothing but men in both those jobs.
I would think so, yeah.
And, as the years went by, there were a few more women trickled in, but most of the places I worked were all men, Folsom Lake especially. I mean, that was a hardcore public safety type of job.
How did they treat you? Did they accept you? Did they treat you as an equal? Or?
I had to work hard to prove myself.
I bet.
Because, you're working with a bunch of guys who are used to doing public protection and law enforcement. And having a woman in their midst was kind of a new thing for the most part, and they weren't used to that. And so I had to really prove myself. And it was funny, and some of the first few contacts I made this one contact out near Granite Bay, and I was just stopping one vehicle and I used the PA, but 8 vehicles all pulled over at once. So I thought, okay, well, they were all offending, they were all tearing up the area, so I got out and I had them line up, and I was writing citations one by one and apologizing that I had to do it, but look, you guys, you were tearing up the landscape. They're like, it's okay, ma'am. They were all waiting in line to get their ticket. So,
Well, that's good.
I know, I talk about command presence, I had to have it there. But the funny thing was that all of my male colleagues started showing up because they'd heard that I had made this 8 vehicle stop. So they're all showing up one after another, thinking I might need some help.
I love
And
it.
they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, they all stopped for me. They're like, that's ridiculous, you know, and so
I
they
love it.
helped me out. I'm like, guys, you really don't need to help me. I got it under control here. And they're like, just call if you need help. I'm like, okay, thank you. You know?
I love
So
it.
that was kind of nice. I mean, that they felt protective towards me.
Sure.
But I mean, gradually I had to prove that I could take care of myself. And
Yeah.
so, so it was kind of funny. And when I was out at Marin Headlands, it was even more so because there hadn't been a woman ranger there. And here I was out doing all kinds of things. That was more of a generalist job. I didn't wear the law enforcement gear there. I wasn't a peace officer. I was more of a naturalist, resource manager type of a job. But still, it was with all men, and so it could get really interesting at times in terms of, you know, their expectations of me and what they
So
thought I
you
could
were
do.
a police officer, though.
I was when I was a state park ranger. Now,
okay.
national parks is a little bit different. With national parks, you can be a law enforcement ranger, or you can be what they call an interpretive ranger, a naturalist ranger. Or you can work in resource management or any other jobs. So they're much more specialized. So when I was working at Marin Headlands, I was a non-badge, non-enforcement generalist ranger.
Oh,
I did
okay.
cliff rescue, I did horse patrol.
Wow.
Yeah, that was really fun. Yeah, I love that. We'd get on horses and ride this beautiful 6.5 mile
How
loop
exciting.
trail. Yeah,
Wow.
that was really awesome. I loved that part of the job. Sometimes that's all I do for the entire weekend. We ride. I did foot patrol, vehicle patrol. I walked the beaches. I hiked the trails up over the ridge, and
My God.
talked to visitors everywhere, and just talked to them about the cultural history, the natural history. There was military history out there because it used to be all of these different gun emplacements out there. You know, that dated all the way back to the Civil War, and then everything. You know, all the way up through World War II.
So you did a little bit of everything.
You had to learn military history, you had to learn natural history, you had to learn the geology and the ecology and the biology
My
and
goodness.
the plant, everything, botany there. So you had to literally be a jack of all trades and do resource work at the same time.
Fascinating.
And then when it came to the public misbehaving, you had to bluff because we didn't have law enforcement powers. And so we were supposed to call the park police to come if there was ever any kind of a law enforcement situation. But you know, they were all the way back in San Francisco,
Oh
half
my
an hour
gosh.
drive
I was just
away.
going to ask you, have you ever come across something
Oh,
that,
lots of times,
that
yeah.
was really scary? And
Not so much there, but I had to bluff my way through some contacts and make people think that I had the law enforcement authority to get them to stop doing what they were doing. But it wasn't until I worked in California state parks that I was a full-on law enforcement
Carrying
peace
a gun?
officer. Right, carrying all the tools of the trade around
Wow.
the waist, which could get kind of tight because I was even smaller then, and trying to fit all that
Wow.
stuff, there wasn't enough room for it sometimes. And so it was like a struggle to get all that.
did you like that role?
I didn't mind it. It wasn't my first choice in terms of becoming a park ranger, but I knew that was part of the job, so I accepted it, and I got real comfortable with it, and I didn't mind doing it. It
Did
was
you ever
definitely
come
part of the
upon,
job.
you know, you hear about people getting attacked or people getting, women hiking and getting, you know, attacked and things. Did you have to ever deal with something like that?
Well, I mean, in terms of people attacking each other, that happened almost every weekend, you know, during the busy months of the year. I mean, there were times when I would literally wade right into a group of like 40 or 50 people fighting and beating each other up and have to shout at them to stop what they were doing.
Take your gun out.
No, I didn't. And its amazing thing is they would actually stop because they couldn't believe that this little woman ranger was walking into the midst of these big bruiser guys and was screaming at them to stop. They were just like so shocked they would actually stop because they weren't sure what I was going to do.
Well, good. You had presence, girl. You had presence.
Actually, Jeaninne, it's a wonder I wasn't killed at least 100 times over. And some of the things that I got involved in, I mean, some of them were literal knock down, drag out, roll on the ground kinds of things, and other times it was, weapons drawings, or you were taking weapons away from people. Way in the back country, sometimes I was a lone ranger out there. That's what this book talks about so much. The reason it's called Tales from a Rogue Ranger is because to survive in this job, especially working remote areas like Auburn, when you're way back up a dirt road or you've hiked in on a trail, you are the lone ranger out there. So you had to be intrepid. You had to think outside of the box.
You're an adventurer is what you are.
You had to be. You had to be ready to act on your own and deal with any kind of incident. I'll never forget one time my supervisor asked me to go check out this camper that was somewhere down in Cherokee Bar on the Middle Fork. And all the other rangers hadn't been able to find him. But I had an idea where to look. So I went through all these brush tunnels. I finally found this guy way out in the middle of nowhere, and he was sleeping when I got there, and I immediately noticed he had 3 rifles stashed in the brush right near where he was, so I yanked those and tossed them way aside. Then he woke up, and he's like, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" I said, "Park ranger, put your hands in the air." And I started marching him back to my vehicle. Well, he took off running, went straight up the mountainside, right through all this poison oak. I'm like, I'm not following him up there. No way.
Oh my God, girl.
So I called it in. I had crews come in and take all his stuff away. He was doing a grow operation. He had a bag of weed. I'm not kidding. It was this big. They're like, "Whoa, did you score?" So we never caught the guy, but his father kept coming to the ranger station saying, "Give me back my boy's things." Like, "We'll give you back your boy's things when your boy comes in and lets us arrest him."
I love it.
So,
I hope that story's
oh
good.
yeah, it is. It is.
Oh.
There's another really amazing one where just outside the ranger station on Highway 49, as you're going down the canyon, ranger station up there on the left, some guy comes running in and he says, "There's a man out there shooting at defenseless birds." And my boss goes, "Can you handle it, Rose?" I'm like, "Sure." I get out there. There's this.
I'm sure he knew you could handle it.
Again, it's a wonder I wasn't killed 100 times over. I go out there. There's this guy with this like semi-automatic AK-47 gun, all in camo. He's wearing camos. He's got all these deadly weapons, and he's shooting at turkey vultures right down there because there was a roosting area just down over the side of the road down in the canyon there. And so I arrested him, and then I start looking through his stuff, and he's got all these deadly weapons. I mean, like throwing stars.
Oh my God!
And he had flechette darts and dirks and daggers. He had a rocket launcher. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. In fact, one of my fellow rangers came to one of my talks. He goes, "It's true, you can't make this stuff up. This stuff really happened." So that guy, he was crazy. I said, "What are you doing out here?" He says, "Oh, I'm just protecting myself against people." I said, "What people?" He goes, "Anybody who goes against me." I'm like, "I'm sorry, sir, but you have felony weapons in your possession. I'm going to have to take you to jail." He says, "I get it. I know."
Oh, I love it.
So yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of crazy adventures.
You must not have any kind of fear. I mean, you must project this really confident
I projected it, but I had plenty of fear. But I just had to outwardly act like I wasn't afraid. Otherwise,
because it even sounds like the men around you had respect for you.
I think gradually they came to.
Yeah.
At first, they're suspicious. Woman ranger, she's just going to cause us to have to protect her.
Exactly.
And which is, a logical assumption. I'm
Sure.
half their size. But over time, they came to realize that, not only could they not worry about me, but they could also count on me to help them if they needed help. So.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It sounds like an exciting career.
Well, it was a great job, and it wasn't always law enforcement or scary arrests
Yeah.
like that. I mean, sometimes you were rescuing somebody or helping somebody or, helping pull somebody out of the water before they drowned, or giving them first aid when they'd broken a bone or they were
Wow.
bleeding seriously or they were in an accident. I mean, just you never knew from one day to the next. It was always going to be an adventure.
Yeah, you could have taken your science background into medicine.
Yeah.
And you kind of did it all out there.
You had to be able to do it all. You had to be able to wear every hat because a lot of times you were way out in the middle of nowhere and you were the only person around.
That's
So-
amazing. Wow.
But it was.
I never thought of rangering to that degree. I mean, you really opened my eyes. I've never, because really, when you think about it, people in trouble, people in peril, people on the precipice of, extreme injury.
Yeah.
Lone,
Yeah.
outlaws.
Yeah.
like
You
the
literally-
Wild West.
It was literally, you were the Lone Ranger in the Wild West and you literally did not know what was going to happen
And
from
you
one
never
minute
knew
to the next.
every day what you would come upon.
You never
which-
knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now in the other
And
book,
the beauty and the splendor and all that mixed in.
Yes, and like there were days when I worked down on the South Yuba River that it was literally 110 degrees or more down in that
Oh
canyon.
yeah, I've been there.
And I'm wearing full body armor underneath my uniform because you never know what you're going to run into.
Oh wow.
And oh my gosh, that one summer I worked at the South Yuba River, I lost 18 pounds.
Wow.
I recommend that for the rapid weight loss program. To work as a
Yes.
park ranger with body armor on in 110, 150
Oh my
degree
gosh.
canyon. But the books talk about happy things too, especially in trip tales. There's some really sweet stories in here. The cover talks about a lot of different things. The camp, the little trailer on the cover here. This is a trailer that my family and I would rent every year, and our little family of 5 all stuffed into this tiny little trailer because that's all my dad could afford. We got 1 week of vacation every year, and that was
Wonderful
it.
memories.
Yeah, so we'd go camping down along the Santa Cruz or Big Sur coast. This is the raccoon that bit my dad on the finger when he was feeding it marshmallows, which he should not have done around the campfire. This is the skunk that got me in the gun tunnels at Marin Headlands when somebody reported a skunk and I went in to investigate. Boy, that skunk up close is something else. This is my ranger hat that flew off my head more than once, and it always seemed to sail straight towards a body of water. Always. It would land in the water, and then there were 100 people with cameras.
Aww.
And then this is the picnic table. This is people's favorite chapter in this book. It's called The Stolen Picnic Table. And this is about how my father hated getting to a picnic area on a weekend afternoon and getting there, and it was too late and all the picnic tables were gone. And so one day he decides he's going to buy his own picnic table and benches. So he puts it in the back of the pickup truck. And I'm just dying of embarrassment, right? I mean, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die of embarrassment. We get to this beautiful beach on the San Mateo coast, carry the picnic table out, and everybody's looking at us, but they're all thinking, what a great idea. Why didn't I think of that? Well, then the people who got there afterwards, they come along and they see this beautiful picnic table up on top of this bluff with the perfect view. Well, my father had a great idea with the table. I didn't think so. I was embarrassed, but I'm like shrinking down. But I feel like everybody's watching us, even the dogs, but as a teenager, by then
Oh, of course, everything is embarrassing.
it was. But the real crisis happened when we finished up our lunch and we're getting ready to go play on the beach. Well, all those people that had arrived after us, they want that picnic table.
Of course.
And so they're running up the hill, racing against each other to get there first. And my father's like, no, this is my table. And they're like, give it up, buddy. You've already been here for an hour. We've been waiting for this table. And he's like, no, it's my table. And they're like, it's a public park. Now give it up. And my dad's like, it's my table. Finally, he just loads it in the pickup truck. And people call up the park ranger because they think we're stealing. Oh my God! They think we're stealing it. So quick as he can, my dad Dad says, get in the truck, we'll go someplace else. Park ranger rolls in, he's like, looking, has a crime been committed? He's not sure. So we speed out of that parking lot in a cloud of dust, and my dad hits the secondary accelerators, and we were roaring up Highway 1 at the speed of light. Even that poor ranger in the dust just scratching his head. So that's the story of the stolen picnic, too.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
And then this bear on the back. This bear on the back is this story because when I was working at Mount Rainier, I was doing campfire talks in the evenings. And so I'm doing this campfire talk. We're so happy. We're having a great time. People are singing and laughing and telling stories. And then all of a sudden, everybody starts screaming and running away. I'm thinking, what did I say wrong? What did I say wrong? And then up through the center of the campfire circle, there's all these little benches. And up through the center comes this mama bear. And she's like, oh, and the little baby bears. And two baby bears, one big mama bear. Everybody's gone in less than 60 seconds, including the bears. So I'm like, well, that was a bust of a program. So I go and I lay down on little half split log benches, we had around. I'm looking up at the night sky and I'm thinking, oh, it's so beautiful here. Night sky like you can see nowhere else, and inky blackness of space, sparkling stars. And I'm thinking, well, you know what? That was a success. If not only the people came, but the wildlife came, and it was a successful program. They thought enough to come.
Yeah, and that's what makes for award-winning stories.
It was, yeah, that was a riot. Yeah, people say, what's the most embarrassing thing that ever happened? It wasn't the bears. It was a day I was walking a group of Boy Scouts down a trail at Mount Rainier, and it had just rained the night before, as it often does there in the summer. It's just such a wet climate. Anyway, so I'm hiking down the trail with this group of 10-year-old Boy Scouts, and all of a sudden my feet just slip out from under me, and I go, whoosh, I'm right on my butt, covered with mud, and they're all like looking at me like go ahead, everybody cheer.
Yeah.
But the sweetest thing that ever happened was at Mount Rainier too, because one night I was told I was going to have to do this sing-along. And I can't sing. I mean, when I was a kid, I thought I could sing. But when I got older, I realized I can't sing. And I had to lead this sing-along in this great big community hall across the river at Mount Rainier, and this beautiful big log hall. And I'm thinking, well, maybe nobody will show up. So I get there, and 300 people showed up. 300 people. They're knocking down the doors to get in. They fill up every seat in this huge hall. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm doomed. What am I going to do? So I hand out copies of the songs, because it's long before PowerPoint. There's no overhead or anything. Hand out these copies of the songs. I said, ladies and gentlemen, I have a confession to make. I can't sing. And there's dead silence. And then they all burst out laughing. She's so funny. I'm like, no, seriously, I can't sing. They laugh again. I said, tell you what. I'll do the first few notes of each song, but then you've got to drown me out or you're all going to suffer. It's going to be like torture if you have to listen to me. So I did, and they did, and it was the best sing-along, and everybody came up afterwards and said, you did great, don't worry, it was the best time we ever had.
Oh, see.
I was so relieved. And the next day on the bulletin board right next to that hall was a note, and it said, Ranger McHenry, please please write to Danny, and there's this name and then this address. So I take this note back to my roommates, and I'm like, what do you think I should do about this? I'm engaged to be married. I shouldn't be writing this, writing this stranger. And they said, just write to him. He's a guest of the park. He's a park visitor, and you should write to him because you're a park ranger and that's your job. I said, well, okay, if you think about it that way. So I wrote back. I said, well, what do I say? They said, just talk about what you did this week and ask him what he did. So I did that. A week later, because again, long before the internet, a letter comes back, and out of the envelope drops this picture of this little boy, 9 years old.
Aww.
Little boy. That's who Danny was. And he wanted me to write to him and be his pen pal that summer.
Oh,
Because he wanted to become a park ranger.
that's awesome.
Great. So I wrote to Danny all that summer, and at one point he asked me to call him, and he gave me a number to call, and so I called him, and his mom gets on the phone, and she says, "Oh, you have no idea how excited he is. He wants to be a ranger, and this means everything to him."
Oh, that's wonderful.
So I talked to him in his sweet little voice. He says, "Do you remember me?" I said, "Absolutely," because after I saw his picture, I did remember him.
Oh,
And so we talked, and I called him a couple more times that summer, and then
see how we leave our legacies?
Yeah. So sweet little boy. So there's a lot of sweet stories in here as well. Especially in this one. It's not so much about public protection. It's more about interacting with park visitors.
Well, you are so delightful, and we only have 5 minutes left.
Sorry, I've talked too much.
No, you are, I have to say this. You are the fastest guest I've ever had in a great way, because you are so captivating and your stories are wonderful, and I can't wait to read your book.
Thank you.
It's just delightful. So we have 5 minutes where you
Sure.
can talk more about the books and where people can get them.
Sure.
And then, so this is your time.
Well, thank you, Jeaninne. Well, both books are available on Amazon.
Oh,
You can
good.
get them on Amazon. You can get them at Barnes and Noble. You can get them at different bookstores around the area.
I can't
You
wait.
can go to my website. That's the easiest thing.
And you can
my
tell.
website, excuse me, is www.triptalesbook.com. So just triptalesbook.com. And from there you can link on links that'll take you straight out to Amazon or Barnes and Noble. And they're available, both books are available in all three formats. You can get them
good.
in Kindle, in paperback, or in audiobook.
Do you read them?
No, actually for this one, it was a fellow friend that did the audio. I've been on this podcast a number of times called Happy Camper Radio. Two really sweet guys from Georgia.
Oh, cool.
One is a retired police officer. The other is a postman.
Cool.
And the postman's wife loved the book so much that she wanted to narrate it.
Oh, that's cool.
And so she did an absolutely
good.
amazing job, and they did the recording in their studio.
Good.
So they did an awesome
Great.
job. This one, it's more of AI voice. And so it's less fun to listen to, but you can still get it in audio for people who want to listen to it in audio. I also have a television program which is on Auburn Community TV called On the Road with Ranger Rose. And Philip, our wonderful videographer, is kind enough to film me doing that, and I talk about different road trips and different trips that you can make across the West. So
that's fascinating.
it's really fun. To date, we've done four segments. Two are in Nevada and talk about really awesome back roads and parks that you can go to in Nevada. And actually, one of them is partly in Nevada, partly it's in Eastern California. It goes along Highway 395.
I love that drive.
It's gorgeous out there. And then the other two are about Death Valley National Park, and there's so much to see in that beautiful park that it took 2 episodes to talk about that. And then the next episode, which we're going to film in August, is going to be all about Point Reyes National Seashore.
That's a beautiful
Thought I'd do something a little more local, and especially in August when it's, people are, by then they're so sick of the heat, they're looking for an escape.
Absolutely.
And Point Reyes is, so close
Been to all those places.
Yeah,
California is just an astounding state. It is.
It really is. It's like a country unto itself.
When
and
I lived in
it's-
Santa Monica, I would ski in the mountains in the same day, come back and go to the beach.
Oh, it's
The same day. That's
and isn't it
California.
amazing, yeah.
It's just...
There's no other place like it in the world, which is why 40 million people want to live here. When I was growing up, there were only 5 million. But now it's just so many people everywhere. But anyway, so a lot of things to see when you get to my website. And you can also download, and I didn't bring a copy, but you can download a free booklet. It's called Ranger Rose's Road Tripping Tips. It's almost like a tongue twister to say that. But you can download this free color booklet with all kinds of tips about what kinds of things you might want to bring along with you on a road trip. Whether you're going in a camper, an RV, a trailer, or just driving down the road in your car. So
you have to look at that.
Great free booklet.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to get that. Before I end the show, I just want to tell the audience that I've changed the show up a little bit. I used to do this show for boomers that never had children so that we could talk about our legacies without leaving them to our progeny. But I've expanded because I just find so many fascinating people who are empty nesters. So if you're an empty nester and you have a fascinating story, I would love to hear it, and I'd love to have you on my show.
But now you're inviting guests who actually have children.
Yes.
Which I do. I have 2.
Yes.
And my third book is all about, it's going to be called Travels with Gus.
Oh.
And it's going to be all about camping adventures with my husband and 2 children.
There you go. So there's just so many fascinating people. How could I limit it? So boomers, if you'd like to come on the show with children, but you're an empty nester, I'd love to have you. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much.